I am becoming increasingly self-aware, and I thought that you guys deserved a short video, even if you don't get a chance to watch. Of course, I have no idea what the time thing says here, but this is only supposed to be like, this is actually just one sentence, which is, what people what some may find scary on their journey to self-awareness is the realization that sometimes they may be wrong when no voice is telling them so. I recorded an hour video yesterday talking about dogs and humans and entitlement and all this stuff, and voices, of course. And during the video, I realized a number of things I was wrong about or that I had bad voices about. And I was already taking even less for granted the truth of my thoughts than I have in the years past. And here's what happened. There were a number of things that felt a little strange to me. So I had some voices telling me, "Oh, that might not have been right what you said. Oh, that was a little weird." But then I was thinking about how what I said in the video, which I do currently still think was right, which I still don't have any voices telling me is wrong, is that humans exist as they do because they are entitled and feel special. And I imagined a conversation, totally fictional, hypothetical conversation between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens sapiens. Oh, I should put that in quotes, sapiens. More like Homo arrogans. I imagined an interaction where the Neanderthals were offering cooperation with something, or, that we would work together as species. And the Homo sapiens were like, sure. And it was a little bit reminiscent of the Native Americans and Americans, a sort of fictional version of the events that I have in my mind. Which is where Native Americans were like, okay, we can, I guess, maybe share this land that we've been on for hundreds of years and you have no right to. And then Americans, despite that incredibly fictional nice offer, were like, oh God, did I just say Americans? Because literally weren't Americans at the time. Literally by every definition of the word Americans except for, well, no, by no definition of the word Americans were the Native Americans because... Well, no, they were in this land that would be called America, but they weren't unified as one nationality called American. I don't know anything about Native American history, about American Indian history, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever you want me to call you. That's what I just called you. Oh gosh, how stupid. Anyway, so the British and the French, they thought they were special and entitled, and so they were like, no, fuck you. And so anyway, so in thinking about this conversation, oh yeah, this is gonna be a short video. And thinking about this conversation between these fictional Neanderthals and Homo sapiens sapiens, Homo arrogans, I was thinking about how we are the descendants. Those are our ancestors who enslaved or who committed genocide. We are the descendants of the survivors of many horrific acts in history and many acts of entitlement and feeling special. We are not the descendants of the people who were genocided. For the most part. I mean, obviously, I'm speaking, not ubiquitously. I'm speaking hyperbolically. Obviously, there are lots of descendants of victims roaming around. Anyway, all of this is to say that when I thought of myself as the descendant, when I imagined my ancestors making all their terrible, both moral and intellectual decisions, and that those decisions were how they survived. They survived by being prejudiced. They survived by all this stuff that I don't want to be, but that I have to be. Not that I have to become. That I must start as. That I did start as. That I necessarily started as. Because that is the voice map that I inherited. That is how I exist. I descended from people who made those decisions. The human race in general is pretty entitled and thinks it's special, and then I have an American culture, the British, I have that as well. So, and then I was like, that's the programming I'm running on? those are the programs I'm executing when I have these intentions of being moral and find truth. Why would anything I think be right or just? Of course, there are reasons. We did evolve some capacities that helped us survive. But all I'm saying is that a huge part of what helped us exist now are things that we don't really, are traits that we don't really want. How about jumping to conclusions? It's so energy efficient. You know, just you have a question, okay, there's an answer, blah, blah, blah. Also, it's just not possible to really investigate, but also, yeah, a conviction, having conviction in the first conclusion you jump to was advantageous for our survival. It is not advantageous for finding truth, and might not even be advantageous for our survival in this kind of world where we're mixed and where we're asking ourselves all these really hard questions. So I'm really good at being humble and finding my errors, if there's, of course, a voice telling me that I am making an error. So while most people will kind of dig their heels in and justify, and maybe they'll be nagged by a certain voice, but other voice will take care of that voice, will silence it. Or they have this illusion that they're a single unit, and so they don't even know what to do with these conflicting thoughts. So those conflicting thoughts just get ignored. I embrace them. I try to, because I know that I am this conflicting set, and I need to listen to all the different voices in here to try to find anyone that might be saying something valuable, which is how I'm able to, catch a lot of my mistakes. I have no idea what percentage, as I say each time. I don't want you thinking I think that I catch all of my errors. I could very well think that it would be incorrect, and luckily I'm aware that I might catch 4% of my errors. I might catch 1% of my errors. I have no idea just how wrong I am. But here's the thing. What about all those times where all my voices descended from these immoral idiot jackasses? What about when they're all telling me that I'm right, and not a single one is telling me that I'm wrong? I don't have the slightest hunch or indication that I'm wrong. On the contrary, I have a lot of voices telling me that just confirming, everybody's just saying, yeah, great, we're doing great here, this is correct. And even in those cases, why wouldn't I be wrong? Why wouldn't it be possible for all of my voices to all the voices that I hear to agree and be wrong? I am arrogant to think that I can rely on a voice telling me that I'm wrong. Why would I have evolved with that? Why would I have learned that? And that's what I mean when I say that even when something feels true, that doesn't mean that it is. And that's kind of scary. And that's probably a difficult step on the journey to self-awareness. When I look at this question, when I consider this answer, everybody's voting yes. Not a single person is voting no. And I have to still be prepared for that to be wrong. Maybe it's not having the effect that it's supposed to have. So you need to really imagine it's you. Because that's when it feels, holy shit, if everybody in my mind is saying, because let me just say this. On a TV show, maybe there's like a whole bunch of people doing something wrong, but then there's like one straight character or one character that's saying, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. And what you have to imagine is watching a TV show where every character is incorrect. Imagine watching a TV show set in slavery times where no one is saying, hey, this is weird. This isn't right. Because that's how it actually was, often enough. In history, we learn about the people who spoke up. But most people not only didn't speak up, they actually didn't see a problem. Well, that's what I think anyway. I mean, I'm almost certain. Just like we don't see a problem with with a lot of the things that we do. We see a problem with the things that other humans are doing in this state, but we don't see a problem with what we do. So, and that's kind of scary. That's kind of like, oh, wait a minute. I can't rely that there's always going to be something telling the truth. And because we like to have this hindsight bias. Okay, I should stop talking. We're stopping at 15 minutes, and I'm sorry this video is stopping at 15 minutes. When we make bad decisions, we have this voice that comes out that will say, oh shit, we kind of knew we kind of knew it. We had this idea that there was always this knowing. It is incomprehensible to us that we could be in a moment where we are completely wrong and have zero idea. So there's a voice will say, oh yeah, well, we kind of knew. I promise you it won't last long. Try to tell someone, Because you're probably thinking, oh no, I can think of the situation and I like had no idea. Okay, I want to see how long you last. Tell me that. Tell me I had no idea. I was completely unprepared for this. And just like keep telling me that. And I bet within 15 to 30 seconds, there's a voice that's going, well, I mean, I had said to this person, like, so I but I just wasn't really thinking, or something like that. Before you know it, they will tell me that there was a voice that kind of knew. And I would do the same thing. It's very difficult for me to understand if I have truth, how I didn't have it before.